All right, everybody. Welcome to our webinar for campus ambassadors and brand marketing associate applicants. So, we'll keep this webinar fairly short. We want to hear from everybody who is attending today. And the agenda is going to be, us introducing ourselves a little bit, um, introducing the company, and then talking about the role. Um, so why don't we get started? So a little bit about ourselves. So we are essentially a startup based in Cupertino, California, and we are a little less than 2 years old. We started out as a financial services marketplace, and we still do that. We recently launched a boot camps division when we saw the need for essentially skills and training, uh, essentially skills training for finance professionals. And we launched our first boot camp and did pilots a few months ago for our investment banking prep boot camp. This boot camp is essentially for applicants to investment banking jobs and to other top finance jobs. And we will be giving you all the links. You may already have the links, but if you just head over to affinescore.com, you may be able to, this is the page you'll come to, and this talks more about our flagship bootcamp. So we have one bootcamp live and out right now, and then we have more in the pipeline that we are just piloting and will be releasing shortly. So just a little bit about this bootcamp. So it's a 30-day, 4-week bootcamp. It's a live bootcamp. A lot of the courses online today are essentially do-it-yourself, videos. Think of Udemy, think of Coursera, and so we are definitely differentiated uh, from those courses because we do it live. We provide a live mentor, we provide a live coach, and we provide this immersive 30-day experience. Um, and then obviously all our instructors are ex-investment bankers, with experience from top banks. You can read more about our dates. This is where we talk about, the different features of the boot camp. This is our agenda for the 4 weeks, agenda prior to starting the boot camp, and then agenda after the boot camp. Um, Two things that differentiate us, among others. One is that the bootcamp offers a real deal experience, and then you can read more about that here. And the second is not here, but I think it's here. So the second is that we actually refer our top graduates to our network. So since we are all ex finance professionals, bankers, and whatnot, we actually have a pretty large network on Wall Street, and we are referring our top graduates from boot camps to our network on Wall Street and nationwide, essentially. This talks a little bit more about boot camps versus DIY online courses, and why we think that boot camps are much better than DIY courses. A very easy way to think about it is, think of the fitness industry, having a personal trainer versus, watching YouTube videos or, having an app telling you what exercise to do. Obviously, a personal trainer is, way more effective. Let's see. And then who is this bootcamp for? So it's for undergraduates, masters, and for working professionals. But for this webinar, we'd be focused on the first category, which is the undergraduate students. And this talks a little bit of pricing. So right now, the bootcamp is priced at around $700, which is way less than a lot of the live boot camps presented by competitors. And these are live in-person boot camps that our competitors have, which cost anywhere from like $2,000 to $5,000. And if you look at their DIY courses, those are priced at around $1,000. So we are even less than self-paced DIY courses. So that's pretty much it. This is our flagship boot camp. And as a part of promoting the bootcamp to undergraduate students, we are launching a campus ambassador program, and that's, that is the reason why you guys have dialed in today. And a part of our, at the heart of our campus ambassador program, obviously, is the initiative to get more sales and to essentially get more people to sign up for our bootcamp. And we are planning to do that in a variety of ways. So one of the ways that we are planning to do that is essentially provide a lot of resources for the students who are signing up for our boot camps, or who are planning to sign up for a boot camp. So think of, resume reviews, mock interviews, interview guides, um, anything that would help them, essentially get one step closer to getting ready to interview for the role. And we will be providing these resources to potential applicants for free. But we need a way to get to these potential applicants. We need a way for us to, for our resources, our materials, our flyers, our discount codes to get in front of these students. And that's where the campus ambassadors come in. So we have posted a link in the chat window. This link is for the campus ambassador role. And essentially, this, if you go through this role, if you've been a campus ambassador before, essentially, this would be a very typical campus ambassador, brand marketer role. You would be representing the Affine Score brand on your campus. And in a variety of ways, right? So there's the traditional marketing, putting up flyers, handing out flyers and whatnot. But then there's also this, strategic partnerships angle where you'd be partnering with clubs online, I'm sorry, not online, but partnering with clubs and giving them a discount code, encouraging them to, promote our boot camps to their members, mostly, through their club meetings, through newsletters, through their website and whatnot. And you could also partner with your career centers, if they are interested in getting the free resources that we have to offer. And there would be, other opportunities to actually organize your own activities, organize your own info sessions, and essentially, host your own webinars and your own, in-person info sessions to attract potential students who are looking to essentially sign up or do the boot camp, or even to break into a top finance role. You can read more about what we're looking for. Again, this is it's a fairly easy role. We don't expect the commitment to be more than 5 to 10 hours a week. Likely 5 to 10 hours when when you're just getting started, but lower than 5 hours on an ongoing basis. But obviously somebody who is a people person, who is tech savvy, who is interested in digital marketing, and to a lesser extent in finance and essentially careers related to finance. Great. So we're targeting top 100 schools. This is essentially, again, being interested in finance and tech is a bonus, but it's not a requirement. But we're definitely looking for somebody who is, motivated, organized. There's not going to be a lot of oversight from our team. So it's a very results-oriented role. And so that's why, self-motivation and that self-starter personality is very important. All right. And then, yes, so basically what's in it for you? So, the compensation is in the form of a revenue share. And we think, this is the best way, especially since we're a startup, this is the best way for us to incentivize campus ambassadors, and also for the campus ambassadors to be able to share into the upside. So we do want to give an incentive to campus ambassadors. So the more sales they make, the more they promote, their additional efforts would be recognized. And so, there is this, revenue share compensation. Again, it differs from bootcamp to bootcamp, but for the flagship bootcamp, it's around $50 per enrollee, which comes out to around, 8 to 10% revenue share. and yeah, essentially whatever revenue we make, you'd make 8 to 10% of it. And then the discount code that you have would also give a discount to the folks that are enrolling, and you'd have a unique discount code. So we'll be able to track all the traffic that is coming through you and through your marketing efforts. And the efforts can again be online, offline, in person, through clubs, you know, indirect. They could be a lot of avenues for you to do your marketing. And then yes, we also have, you know, potential to get access to any of our boot camps for free. We just have one boot camp live right now. We have 4 more boot camps in the pipeline, and then we are also starting up tech boot camps, including advanced coding and graph databases and whatnot. And then obviously, you know, it's a flexible role. You know, you can do it whenever you have time. And then we'd be providing you a lot of support materials in order to do your job, including flyers, leaflets, and whatnot. Let me see if anybody has any questions. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat window, and we'll be able to, you know, see them and answer them. I'm just going to show you guys some resources that we have so far. So let me see if I'm missing anything on the agenda. All right. Great. So we have an application online. The application is through that link, which is in the chat window. And once you apply, you know, obviously, if everything checks out, we will do an official onboarding, and then you start the program. We do weekly check-ins, and then we do like monthly brainstorming ideas, best practice sharing and whatnot, where you know, some marketing tactics and whatnot are working out for one campus ambassador, we can essentially roll those tactics out nationwide. And there's also an incentive for you to come up with new ideas and come up with innovative solutions, because you know, if we roll out any of your ideas nationwide, we'd even give you, you know, again, a part of the revenue share that is generated from rolling out your ideas nationwide. All right, this is great. And again, we'll give you all our links, but this is, you know, if you just go to affinescore.com, you'll be redirected to our main bootcamp page. The CA job link is in the chat window. And these are some of the flyer designs that we have come up with. Again, you know, you're welcome to create your own flyers, and we will be coming up with new designs all the time. And again, these are color and black and white, you know, depending on what your preference is. So again, we have a whole range of resources already ready for you to go. So, you know, once you sign up, it's, you know, it's more on your end to make a push and, you know, start getting the registrations in. I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to see if anybody has any questions, and also if, you know, Fatima and Vishnu and Utomo, if you guys want to add anything.
I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, please go ahead and ask questions if you have any.
Then I think some of the questions that I've received in the past include, you know, how long is this program? So this program essentially is meant to be for the spring, for the spring semester. So, you know, around 3 to 4 months, depending on when your semester ends. We don't really have a start date and a cutoff date. And, you know, again, since this is a revenue share model, you know, even if you want to extend the role into the summer or, you know, into the next semester, we are more than happy to do that as well. Again, it should make sense for us and for, you know, and for you as well. Another question I was asked recently was, how many campus ambassadors are we targeting per school? So ideally, the answer is 1, and you know, I think max maybe 2. Again, you know, we are targeting students who are interested in top finance roles, like investment banking, hedge funds, equity research and whatnot. And so, the target market is large, but it's not large enough to have multiple campus ambassadors. So you'll have, say, 5 to 10 clubs on your school that would be targeting this area. You'd have depending on the size of your school, a few thousand students interested in pursuing these careers. So you would, I don't think we need more than 2 campus ambassadors per campus. And yeah, the referral codes, they'll be unique. You'll get a unique referral code once you're accepted in the program. And essentially, you can put it up on flyers, you can give it out to clubs, you can give it out to career centers. We'll also be training you a lot more in depth on what the course is, what the bootcamp is, how we are differentiated versus our competitors, why us versus somebody else, why students need a bootcamp in the first place, why is just, self-studying or, whatever you learn from class is not enough. So we'll be telling you all of that stuff. So you're better prepared to field questions. You're better prepared to, make a sales pitch when you actually go out to make these relationships work. And we have a question here. So what are you guys covering in the bootcamp specifically? Yes, so this is, if you go to affinescore.com, you'll see this is the bootcamp. And, I can walk you through the agenda. So for the first bootcamp, again, these bootcamps are aimed towards college students. So this is, the sole purpose of these bootcamps is to get them their first job and help them break into the industry they want to break into. And so for this case, it's obviously finance and Wall Street. So, we'd be focusing on initially before we start the bootcamp, we'll be doing, resume reviews. We'll be distributing interview guides, and then we'll be going through essentially, fundamentals of finance. We'll be, asking our enrollees to start prepping before the bootcamp starts. The first week is going to be, diving into what are financial institutions, different kinds of financial institutions, what do they do, talking about fundamentals of finance, of modeling, of Excel. Again, a lot of these things that people may already know, but just to cover our bases. And also talking about networking, interviewing, and then for every week we have one guest speaker come in. And then the second week is going to be in depth into modeling. So we'll be actually in depth into modeling fundamentals. So we'll be talking about public statements, how to analyze public statements, building a 3-statement model, building basic projections, talking about ratios, KPIs, whatnot, and then doing essentially public comps. And then the next week is going to be more advanced modeling. I guess this is also basic modeling. So we'll be doing transaction comps, DCF, the football field, and whatnot. So I'd say this more, a little more advanced than the last week. And then we'll wrap up the week with more advanced models like M&A models, building out investment thesis, stock pitches, and then, doing a lot of interview prep. And then obviously after the boot camp, we'll continue supporting our enrollees. They'll still have access to all our student groups, Slack group, Facebook group. We'd still have, practice interviews and case studies and other prep materials we'll be sending them after the boot camp. So this is at a high level, the agenda for the finance boot camp. Right. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else they want to ask? And then Fatima, do you know if we have covered all the materials from the onboarding guide? So this is our onboarding guide. For...
Yes, we mostly have. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have who we are, what do we expect from you, benefits. We talked about that. We talked about the promo code. getting started. So the first step to get started is, apply using the link, the CA job link in the chat window. Who is your target audience? So this is great. So let's go there.
Mhm.
Get started. All right. So, so yeah, it's basically students who are pursuing investment banking and other finance careers. So most of these students are going to be, finance and economics majors, but you also have students from a lot of other majors who end up, working in banking and finance. So I think the target would be, finance and economics majors, but also members of different clubs and, relevant, circles on campus. All right. So how to market the bootcamp. So I think the onboarding guide, which we'll share with you, if you join the program. So it has a lot of different suggestions and, different ideas on how to market, the brand and the products on campus. These are the upcoming planned boot camps. And then obviously we have a lot of, in the compensation structure, we have bonuses and whatnot built in. And again, this could be very lucrative depending on, I know that, I used to be a brand ambassador, I think for Microsoft, 10 years ago. And, the pay wasn't that great. But obviously, this is a revenue share model. So, it is an open-ended, revenue share potential. Legal requirements and then minimum requirements. All right. So yeah, I think we've covered it all. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send us an email. Just type in our email in the chat box. But it's just info@affinescore.com. And I think we should be able to get back to you within a few hours of you asking a question. Great. I think that's all we had. So if nobody else has any questions, I think we can wrap it up. All right. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, looking forward to reviewing the applications and, kicking you off as campus ambassadors. Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. And thanks, team, for jumping on.